Stadium, our second game of doubleheader soccer. The Blaine Bengals traveling to take on the Spring Lake Park Panthers. And we got to see the Bengals have the start here tonight. The women were actually able to come out for the Bengals and win it 3-0. So that was, that kickstart that they needed.
Yeah, off to a good start. Meanwhile, these two teams near each other in the Northwest Suburban Conference sets up what should be a pretty fun game. They're both middle of the pack, so it should be a pretty competitive contest here on an unseasonably warm night for soccer at SLP.
Yeah, it's the conditions that you want. Under the lights, it's still very toasty out there. It didn't cool off too much
like that
at
humidity,
this moment.
Right?
Yeah, we're feeling it. We're feeling it. But these guys just getting ready to jumpstart this. And as you said, Bill, that Coach Aerosmith was telling me before the game that this is one that on paper should be that game. Just how close they've been in the years past. They didn't even match up against each other last year, so it dates back to 2019 when the Bengals were able to come out with that 1-0 win. So.
Yep, both teams sitting 5-5 in conference. Blaine 6th in the conference table, and SLP's technically 7th. So SLP coming in having lost 3 of their last 4, but they just beat Coon Rapids in a fun one the other day. So hopefully for the Panthers, they can keep that momentum going.
On the near side, Schmitz throws this one up the field. Again, it's going to be which team is going to start to feel in control early on. Coach was telling me that in the games throughout the past, they've always been close. It's been a 1-0 game typically. And normally he said it's coming late on, so we might not see a goal for a bit, but it depends if their pass shows through today.
Yeah, and I mean, Blaine has won 2 straight in 3 of their last 5. They've pitched 2 straight shutouts, so their defense is playing with a lot of confidence right now. But certainly on the road, they've got to, score early, and that they certainly want to get off on the right foot. Yeah. Bengals, of course, their girls team just did just that, scoring 2.5 minutes into the girls contest.
Yeah, Sam Stile, keeper here for the Spring Lake Park team, had his first touch just a few minutes ago. And again, it's going to be important for these goalkeepers to get their handle on this game in the early minutes, make sure they don't let anything silly sneak past them that they'll regret later on. But both these teams have had the ball in that final third as we see them work around. But right now, the Bengals in white have found themselves just going back and forth with the Spring Lake Park Panther team in these first couple minutes.
Ryan Manning actually sick tonight, so his wife, Jennifer Manning, is on the sidelines along with a former Minnesota All-American.
Yeah, an interesting story. Nice for her to be able to step up and take on the team tonight. And of course, if you're the wife, you know everything. You know every single thing that's going on throughout this team, throughout the season. And again, Spring Lake Park in the royal blue out there as they swing through the defense, stepping through.
And that co-head coach we were referring to is Jennifer McElmurray. So Jennifer Manning and
Jeremy Harris. But as these guys settle into it again, Coach Aerosmith saying that oftentimes it's just a 1-goal differential between these two teams, not wanting to make any mistakes and allow that goal to happen. And definitely don't want it to happen this early.
Yeah, sometimes teams can start off playing pretty tentatively as they try to prevent, as they try to get a feel for, first of all, what their opposition is doing, but then also to prevent a mistake and go behind, because then you're kind of chasing the game, and that can affect everything.
Paul pushed forward, fast break almost here for Spring Lake Park. Ball shot, and this one wide. will come back as a goal kick. But definitely you felt the momentum coming up the field for Spring Lake Park. Believe that was Medic.
Oh, that was a tremendous effort, actually, by Abdul Akinola. Akinola was speeding down that left wing and then crossed it. He had Medic in the middle, but he decided to whip in across instead. That had some real pace on it. Akinola, as we saw against Centennial, very dangerous. Cougars, of course, getting a late goal in the first half and ultimately coming away with all 3 points in that one. But certainly the SLP boys had a lot to feel good about, because if you remember, they played real well for spells of that game, just couldn't get that goal.
And as the Panthers work it out of their defensive end, again, trying to rush onto this. And now that was Medic who was trying to get on the end of it. But a swarm there, it looked like, of Bengals keeping him away.
Yep, Ryan Schweiger ultimately had to clear the danger for Blaine, but certainly the pressure of Medic, the athleticism as that lone striker up top, always dangerous and always someone that Blaine needs to be aware of.
Ball sent in, but to the left side of the net there. But we've seen some effort there in the offense, the attack from the Panthers in the early minutes. They've been able to get the shot off. Sure, maybe it wasn't the greatest shot. It wasn't on net, making the keep have to do too much. But again, if you're able to get something off in these early minutes, it's going to help build that confidence.
Yeah, SLP has definitely had the better of chances in the early going. They've looked real dangerous on the counter, and here they are countering again.
Ball fed through on the far side, working his way up. Campadonico.
Easy name for you to say, Enzo Campadonico. Campadonico. Oof. Maybe my favorite name I've seen in soccer this year. That and Minty Shady for,
yeah, that was pretty good.
For Centennial. But a good pace to this game so far, I'd say.
Yeah, the Panthers trying to get their attack underway. They haven't quite really got too much under them. We've seen them get into the final third, but not having to challenge Sam Style too much.
It's been pretty open though. They've had room to run in behind, and Blaine has had to kind of scramble with that back line to clear the danger. So certainly SLP wants to keep that high press going and make things uncomfortable in the backfield for Blaine.
On the far side, the Panthers trying to keep this in bounds. It will go to the Bengals as they look to work through the middle. Again, the biggest thing is really going to be who is able to possess. We've seen a lot of back and forth from these teams in the early parts of this game, but looking to bring it down, that was Jack Moore, and he scored the only goal in 2019 to help the Bengals win it. I'm sure he's looking to do that here tonight.
No question. Moore, the leading goal scorer for Blaine this year, with 7 on the season.
Pushed up the senior, Ryan Schwager, able to send it back to his keeper as he gets it back. And now you're seeing that possession that we're used to seeing from them. Able to connect a few, but of course right here, Panthers defending well and getting it right back.
Really well defended. Zach Newby trying to play that through ball, but just well read by the defense, and that's all it takes sometimes.
DeLu helps switch it onto the far side. But just nearly stripped away. The Panthers remain in possession as they send it out of bounds. It will go back to the Bengals. And again, they are getting closer and closer to that final third as they creep up the field here, just over half.
Yeah, they'd like to keep it. Right now they've been subject to a couple SLP counterattacks. They'd like to possess this one a little bit more.
More long-range shot and through the crossbar, but he had to take it. He was wide open. Why not?
That was an amazing broadcast moment where my last word was more and your first word was more. Totally different context. As Jack Moore took an effort from distance, and it wasn't that far off.
Come on, boys, let's go.
Ball rolling off the Panthers on the far side. Bengals getting to come up. Again, they've had some good possession here now. Jack Moore was able to create that space, get that shot off, but DeLu up the middle. looking to get it back to Lou inside the box. Can he bring it down? Looks like he might be able to try to keep possession. Referee's going to let this play on. I'm a little surprised about that. I thought maybe, but again, it's in the box. Referees don't always like to call that in the early minutes, trying to feel out the game.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty flagrant for it to draw the whistle, much like the one in the Blaine SLP girls game.
Yeah, that's true.
That was pretty stone cold as far as penalties go.
On the far side, Panthers putting it back in. The defense is right there to help push this out of bounds again, not allowing that throw to come quickly. It did tick off of the Panthers and throw in. This one coming from Gabler. As the Bengals, again, try to keep possession, work around, referee is going to call the foul here on this, and they will, unless did that bounce up? I didn't see it necessarily hit a hand, so.
No, he called a high, he called an elbow. And so, of course, 3 refs in this game. There
Back
is
to
someone
normal.
in the middle.
Brody Stewart taking it for the Panthers inside the box, but first 2, the Bengals get ahead on it. Sliding towards goal. The keeper able to make the save, and a big one at that.
Nice save by Griffin Dunnigan. 17 goals allowed this season, a 1.43 goals against average, and that one he actually had to go down to his right to get. Struck from distance, but struck pretty well. As we saw our first free kick of the game with a little more than 10 minutes gone by here in first half.
Lou collecting. He had a defender tightly on him, but he's working to get it back.
Oh, great ball into the channel.
Good decision to come up there by the keeper, Dunnigan.
Dunnigan collided with Medic. Hopefully both players are okay. Medic is grabbing his knees. He's limping a little bit up top as you see him trying to get back on side. And Medic, yeah, he wants a substitution. You can see that gestures to the bench, and so we'll have another player for Spring Lake Park come on to take his place. That collision pretty aggressive with Dunnigan, and Medic comes out the worst.
Let's take a look at that again.
As you see Medic chasing after it, and he kind of pulls up. He has to pull up, and then Dunnigan crashes into the back of him, and he's stationary when that happens. And so it's kind of a jarring collision. You see him just kind of grabbing that left leg. So hopefully he's okay. He'll get to stretch that out.
So I wonder, it kind of looks similar to something that I had happen. I don't know, obviously, if this is what it is, but this is what happened to me in college. You're running up, and you kind of make that stop. You see him try to pull up, and he looks like he's grabbing the back of his leg, which typically is your hamstring.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I popped mine, and
Well, that couldn't have felt
who
good.
knows? You know what I mean? That could not be the exact same thing necessarily, but for me, it was awful in that moment. But you definitely want to keep it warm, want to keep moving if it is a hamstring.
So Medic getting some attention of the trainer.
Getting
now.
the medic.
Yes.
Pull him out.
I was trying to avoid that joke, but since you made it. But yeah, that could be a big switch in the game.
Jack Moore inside the box. Shot ricocheting off the defense.
Good block down there by Andrew Schmitz, one of the captains, senior fullback. Look at Moore, just creating space, but well read by Schmitz. Schmitz even grabbing his lower leg there after the play. First corner of the game.
Ball coming in for the Bengals. Not able to direct it back towards the net, and almost a fast break coming for the Panthers, trying to play it to himself.
Akinola just trying to tap it around his defender as he now moves up into that striker role up top to replace Medic.
We'll stay with the Panthers. This is Schmitz looking to throw. Defense able to gather this one up for the Bengals. Schweiger sending it back towards his keeper, and sometimes that's the best option, as we've talked about in other games here on North Metro TV. They have that vision of the field, so he makes the right call. Coming up, the Panthers able to keep possession, and that's what you need to do in those 50-50 chances. Just to step right in front of the intended receiver.
Akinola all over the place in this midfield. There he is drawing a foul. Seen him up top and right there, shielding the ball nicely from number 15 Charlie Rohrbach. Rohrbach follow. Akinola gets fouled. Easy for me to say.
Tolu able to help get this one out of the box as the Panthers try to work their way back into it.
Finally cleared by Delu, but again, this is as deep as we've seen pressure from either team, or sustained pressure anyway.
It seems like it's just been transitioning. We saw quite a bit of pressure here down on the left side of your screen, and now we've had some focused pressure here on the right.
Which team will be able to translate that pressure in this possession to actual opportunities, to good shots on goal, as Blaine makes its first substitutions.
Mar Adam being one of those. Kevin Schwarzen.
Kevin Sarazin comes in at that fullback role, replaces Ryan Bowman, and Amar Adam wearing the captain's armband. Goal and 3 assists on the season for the senior midfielder, who didn't get the start tonight but hopes to be an impact sub. As you see him up in that kind of top roll up there.
Bengals looking to feed up the forward. The Panthers get that touch on it to slow down that run. However, the Bengals keep that pressure on. They're moving up the field with pace. And that's something that they're going to want to continue to work to do, is finding feet. We saw them do so on a couple of those passes to make their way into the center of the field. Jack Moore with it at his feet. We saw him take the long range. He tries to pass it, stripped away by the Panthers. And maybe he did need to keep it. We saw that able to translate into a shot towards net, but now the Panthers transition.
Wow, I thought that was a questionable. They looked onside from our vantage point, but the flag goes up, and Sean Learson whistled for that infraction. You could just see the ref had stopped and was just waiting for them to get a touch before he lifted that flag. But oh, actually, I stand corrected. Both players were in fact offside.
No one is as good as the replay. It always.
Yeah, and we are much further,
True, yes.
from the top. But
ball sent arcing up. The defense first two. Brody Stewart again helping out his Panther defense on that back line. Delu getting a touch on it. Gonna help his team get back and help him defend. This is Schmitz with the throw.
these have got to be the tiniest shin pads I've ever seen on Delu.
Yeah, if they're even there, it seems like. Yeah, you're right.
Adam also with some interesting shin pad situation.
Just about to keep it in bounds. Larazan gave it his full effort there running to try to keep that one in play, but Jack Moore wanting to turn, stepping up and through. The Panthers getting possession back. That was DeShaw. As the ball bounces in the box, the defense for the Bengals getting it out that sideline, and that's exactly what they needed to do.
Something I noticed the other day, it's incidental stuff, but in basketball, they'll like stop play to make you tuck your jersey in. Not so in soccer. Everybody plays with the jerseys untucked.
Yeah, I think that rule got looser and looser.
Like the shirt tails.
Yep.
And again, here's Akinola in the middle of the park, just controlling things, making sure the Panthers continue to possess the ball and tick along.
This ball switches to that far outside.
And we've got a substitution as Isaiah Noken comes in. Noken, Jacob, and Isaiah, the two Noken brothers, thought they were really impactful against Centennial.
Yeah, I'm excited to see their impact here tonight just because of that. You know, you have the brotherly intuition working together, finding their way up the field.
One's an 8th grader, one's a freshman, so it's a young SLP girls squad, as we saw 6 underclassmen in their starting 11, and a young SLP boys squad as well. Some key contributors and guys like Medic, just a sophomore.
Akinola taking it for the Panthers. This free kick opportunity into the mix. Bengals first 2. And they clear this one with ease, finding Jack Moore's feet. And he's able to pass it up again. Bengals, long touch, too heavy. And the defense coming out with it. Stewart. Flag looks like.
We've reached the midway point of the first half. A little past the midway point, still scoreless. As Zachariah Sharian is subbed out. Charlie Rohrbach returns, or rather, Sharian returns.
Yeah.
Rohrbach is subbed out.
We're still 0-0 in this game. As you were talking about, Bill, we're winding down now in that second part of the first half. Guys still trying to get on, but themselves to be at pressure where they're at now is need a goal to go up by something to win this one today.
Well, like we said, 5-5 in conference play, both teams coming in, so certainly expect it to be neck and neck, and a very competitive game, and that's what we've gotten thus far.
Foul on the far side. Panthers put it back in.
Could it be a break like this one?
Into the box, pushed out, Dunnigan getting the boot.
Dunnigan smart there to use his feet to clear it. He knew he didn't have time to pick it up and try to punt it away, so he just decided instead to boot it. And that was probably the wise choice.
Schmitz with the throw.
You know, in Blythe, like we talked about, this is a warm night, unseasonably warm, humid. So I think both teams' depth will come into play, and both teams' benches will need to be important.
Yeah, and
Which
especially
team
like
is
we
in
talked
better
about
shape?
how close of a battle this is. They're going to need to have that team effort. Coach Aerosmith for the Bengals telling me that still 2 of those starters out with injuries. Jack Moore actually his first game back from an ankle injury, so they're excited to have him back. And those are those things when you have those injuries as we get towards the end of the season, they start to pop up normally, and trying to make sure that you have the least amount of players that have to go through anything like that.
Dangerous here as Akinola gets onto it.
Into the box, almost thought he was going to take a rip. He does send it over. Teammate not able to handle it.
You could put a great cross in the box, obviously, but if no one's in the right position to take advantage, it goes wanting. But again, Akinola just moving it side to side and keeping it in possession.
Jack Moore trying to run onto it. He's able to gather it up for his squad, wanting him to help come with him, I'm sure, as he goes towards the corner. Gonna look to pass it off, and I think that was the right decision. Defenders coming at him. Didn't quite the space. They look to work on this near side, keeping it in play. touched out of bounds, I believe, last by the Panthers. So I think this will stay Bengal ball deep in this end, and DeLue coming up to take the throw.
They couldn't
Oh,
tell.
it's actually a kick. They did call that a foul.
Yeah, they did call that a foul. Schmitz looked pretty annoyed, so you thought it might be the case. Kind of like a corner kick.
DeLue sending it in. Anyone on it? They go all the way to that back, that last runner. Sending it back for almost looking similar from the other side. But Style pulls it down. And again, as you talked about, you know, the difference in what keepers are looking to do. We see him roll it out here to his defense.
Because they want to play it from the back. Yeah, absolutely. Good decision to turn outside. You always want to do that as a fullback. You never want to play it back toward the middle. That's just inviting danger.
Schmitz getting the ball sent in, collision there on his back. They're gonna call that foul on Schwager.
Yeah, Knockin rather, who is one of the smaller players on the pitch, takes the foul. Kind of surprised we haven't seen his brother. Yeah, he got knocking down. But again, a similar kind of position, and now of course he'll ask for the requisite 10 yards. Great chance here for the Panthers.
Akinola sending it long. Head able to get on it, ricocheting off his teammate. And no one able to quite get this one on net. The defense clears it. And I'm sure Dunnigan is thankful, as there was all of that action right in front of his net.
Yeah, I didn't even really have to make a save from our vantage point anyway. Great header at the start, but after that it was just loose balls in the box, and the Panthers couldn't get to it. Well defended by Blaine. As it looks like Medic wants to go back in the game. We'll see if he re-enters before half.
Schmitz throwing this one into Knockin.
Moore is so good at laying it off and then turning and running. He just takes that ball with his back to goal, lays it off to the right player, whether it's on the wings, the right or left wings, and then tries to make that run and play those 1-2s.
Looks like he's gonna get a rest as Brian Flores comes in for him up top for the Bengals. Throwing coming, Schmitz. Sending this up, Akinola off the head. And the Bengals able to recover and get this ball back.
Good footwork.
Bengals taking their time. They're going to use this possession. Looks like they're not going to just send it away as they send this one up and into the box. I think it was a good decision, though. They did knock it around for a bit, but trying to ultimately get to that person who's going to be able to put a shot on net.
Schmitz ultimately comes over to clear the danger. He's been everywhere tonight for SLP.
Yeah, I'm sure. Definitely thankful he's on their back line. He saved them quite a bit.
So right there, Sherian earned the free kick for Blaine, and now it's in a pretty dangerous spot for the Panthers staff to defend. So you probably hear through our broadcast style, barking out orders, setting up that wall in front of him.
It's DeLue and Amar Adam for the Bengals. And DeLue will take it. DeLue's shot fired and off of the crossbar and into the goal. The Bengals up 1-0. What a rip that was.
And DeLue celebrates accordingly. His second of the season. What a spectacular goal from the junior midfielder. That was lovely.
Yeah, I don't think it could get much better than that. Tipping off the crossbar and finding its way into the back of the net.
Oh,
Bingo.
he just right over Style underneath the bottom of the crossbar. It doesn't get any sweeter than that. Underside of the bar.
DeLu was showing who had the style in that one.
No
for
kidding.
sure.
You always like it when you see goals like that, and as the color analyst, you just can't help but make a noise because it was such a special goal. Unbelievable from Tura DeLu. Junior center mid Tura DeLu with an absolutely stunning free kick. That's as good as you see in the pros.
Yeah, I was saying, textbook. Textbook was basically.
You used to do that all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those were the
every
kind
time,
of goals
every
you
time
scored?
I hit it, yeah.
Yeah.
The only goals I scored
Yeah.
for that.
Just crazy free kicks.
I wish. Wow, that was amazing.
What a strike from Tura DeLu.
And as Coach Aerosmith had said, sometimes a lot of these matches have come down to just that 1-0 game, and we'll see if that rings true here tonight or if the Bengals now will be able to work on this lead.
It seems like the Bengals have a little pep in their step after that goal, and why not?
Rightfully so, yeah.
Goals make you can really lift your spirits and give you confidence.
DeLu back with the ball at his feet, sending up his teammate up there. Is Marco Matu.
What's your favorite color of goalie kit?
I probably like the neon yellow,
Yeah,
but that's just
the neon
color
orange.
of
We
life. Or
saw,
blue, or like.
saw a good one the other night. It was pink, all pink.
Yeah, I'm not a huge pink person,
Okay,
but I mean, it might have to do with like the red hair, you know. The orange and
that's
pink
true.
are not my favorite
yeah, they
colors. by any means.
clash. But the all neon yellow.
Yep, neon yellow, neon
You just want to be
green,
able to know that's my
blue.
goalie.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's what really makes a difference. So now Spring Lake Park, despite having played pretty well in this first half, finds themselves a goal down again late first half, just like Centennial. And obviously, they lost that game to the Cougars ultimately by that 1-0 final. That's gotta
Shoved
be a
off
foul.
the ball. Referee
Play
allows
on.
him to play on, but man, this guy is using all the strength he has, I think.
And you see the fouls kind of escalate out of frustration and stuff if the whistles don't get blown. So got to be careful.
As the Bengals look to try to net their second, that was Caballero.
Erson Caballero, 2 goals on the season, but not nearly enough on that one.
Bengals keeping it in their attacking end.
I think the Bengals have been playing much better in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, of course, when you score a goal, your momentum, that energy is feeding off of it. Oftentimes, my coach would say in those next 10 minutes, it's going to be the difference maker, whether it was the defense that steps up and the offense is just sitting back like, yay, we scored, and they get scored on right away, or the offense is on fire because they just got that. They're so pumped up, they go out and get a second one. So usually another goal, kind of typically, you know, you want to look in that window if it's going to follow for either team, which way it's going to go. But these guys playing tough, both sides of it here.
We just saw a phone on the field too. I don't know if that was whose phone that was. They showed it on the camera, but be that as it may.
Just might need to answer a phone call really quick. Style laying out. Style again rolling it to his outside defender to help him work it up the field. They're trying to keep that possession game going. Schmitz coming forward to touch it to the forward. Medic, the ball at his feet, slotting his teammate up the field. Knockin just touches it out of reach, and the defense comes through to clear this. That could have been a really big run for Spring Lake Park if Knockin could have kept it closer.
Yep, we talked about Jacob Knockin's impact, the 8th grader, and he's come on and Saw him get involved there, but how important is Medic's presence back on the field, making plays up top? I mean, he drew the defense, held up play like a good striker should, and then he played in his teammate. It didn't result in a goal, but SLP is so much more dangerous when they've got Akinola and Medic up top. That's a physical foul. It's the 8th grader flattened.
And you see what that looks like when you're comparing, you know, back and forth with the Jack Moore on the other side to the Medic. So both teams having that impactful player up top for them. Tracking it down. The defense tight on his back, but as you're saying, he's able to get the turn off.
Marco Muvutu rather.
And Mavutu came in for more not too long ago. He's trying to get a handle on that top position, but it is tough to turn against a defense who's on your back as closely.
Yeah, it's really an instinctual thing, right, where you know the defense is there and you know which side you can turn on. But if you can get away, you can pick up cheap yellows on the other team. You can obviously get a step in the attack.
Ball sent forward, running onto it. But clearing it is Dunnigan.
Dunnigan got there just a step above before Akinola, or rather Isaiah Noken. Noken flattened again. Now, again, the Noken brothers are young and very small, but he's a lot taller with his hair.
Yeah, it's all about the hair height.
You see that Dunnigan getting there just a half step before Noken, and certainly those brothers, the hustle and the work rate and speed they provide up top makes them difficult to play against, I'd say.
As the time ticks down here in this first half, the Bengals leading it 1-0, and just about 5 minutes remaining for the Spring Lake Park Panthers to try to tie this up. And they do! The Spring Lake Park Panthers find it just as we're saying it. Of course, Medic making sure he helps his team in good positioning as we go into this halftime here in just a few minutes. But what a play by Medic.
Great ball into the channel, dumped over the top. Medic gets there, one touch, slots it in the bottom right corner. What a ball played over the top by Ethan Dissinger. And it totally caught us by surprise. It caught Blaine by surprise. And I think they were expecting the flag to go up, but it stayed down, and Medic has his 8th goal of the season. Now the refs are consulting, so we'll see.
We'll see if this stands.
We'll see if this stands, and it will. That's a goal. I think Blaine's bench, which the ref is right near, could have sworn, like, how was he not? Because he was in acres of space, Medic was. But we've got a tie game.
And that just makes it so much more interesting as we head into halftime in just a few short minutes. We'll see if anyone's able to get another one on the board before that time. Still 4 minutes, 45 seconds.
And I think we were both expecting the flag to go up almost because he was so far ahead of his last defender. Now we've got a stoppage in play. And are we going to see our first card?
So you might just get
maybe a talking to.
Who's on A? Who's on A? Rudy, find the mark. I got it. Drew, 7.
I like that. I like when a ref talks to players, gives them a warning or two, and then issues cards. I never like it when a ref starts issuing cards right away.
Delu sending this into the mix.
Try to score from there, Delu.
Ball sent up, arcing in style, gripping it out of the air.
Boy, he had, I believe that was Amar Adam crashing into him nearly.
He just about steps out of the box to send this one forward. Delu collecting.
Good footwork from Delu. He's got quick feet.
Yeah, he's using him to its advantage tonight.
I mean, Blaine is definitely possessing well at the moment. But again, that little counterattack where Medic timed his run perfectly, ball over the top from Dissinger, and Medic very coolly finished it past Dunnigan. Dunnigan slow to react, and we've got ourselves a tie game with 2 goals late here in the first half.
Yeah, and credit to Spring Lake Park. Staying with that, staying positive, of course, going down a goal. And Jack Moore, shot fired. Left side.
That would have been sweet. Jack Moore, the captain, just opens his hips up and side foots it with the left foot, trying to pick out that upper top corner. And he couldn't quite do it.
Jack Moore having tremendous vision throughout the game so far, but throughout the season, he's been able to find the back of the net.
Yeah, he's got an assist on the season to go along with his 7 goals. Sherian leads the team in assists along with Adam with 3 apiece.
Schmitz wanting to get this in quickly. He holds up. Akinola around a defender, trying to find one of the Knockin' brothers. Rolling out of bounds and back to the Bengals. And the defense has done this time and time again, just stepping through the Bengals, and that time DeShaw helping to get the possession back for them. And again, on the far side, it's like Dishinger helping get this back up the field.
I wonder if when Jacob and his brother Isaiah try to make people laugh, they tell knockin' jokes.
Yes, I think so. We should ask him for one after the game.
Let's go, boys. Finish the half.
Time running out here, first half. So he is brandishing, well, no, he's just waiting to couldn't tell whether he had a yellow card up or he's just waiting to bring it back into play.
Ball sent forward for the Bengals as they try to keep possession. Back to the Panthers it goes. Referee does have to make the call this time, taking down Bengals. This will come back. Free kick coming. Sherian looks to be taking the free kick for the Bengals as they push forward.
17, ball's in.
Almost catching his teammate Schwager off guard as he sends it over on the near side.
1 minute remaining.
Come on, boys.
Under a minute remain in the first half. Tie game 1-1 between these two competitive teams.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten chippy, but certainly the fouls are taking place for sure.
Ball's in.
As Blaine will quickly restart this one.
Into the box, off of the head.
As that was Ryan Bowman who tried to flick that on. Ultimately couldn't redirect it. That's so tough unless the ball has enough pace on it to redirect it towards goal. I was never good at that. Of course, I was a goalie, so I didn't have to be, but.
That helps.
Well done.
Ball sent forward for the Panthers. Just about 10 seconds remaining. See if Moore is able to get some more here before halftime. Knocking it off of the Bengals. This one will go to halftime. The Blaine Bengals score first, but the Panthers tie it up late in this first half. We'll be back for the second half with myself, Blake Whaley, and of course, Bill Hupp. But stick around. This one is going to be a tight one for sure.
Share new perspectives with North Metro TV. Capture breathtaking cinematic images. Business exteriors, scenic landscapes, sporting events, or community images. With a professional videographer at the controls, North Metro TV will tailor a package for your budget. For high-quality photo and video aerials, contact North Metro TV.
past comes alive at North Metro TV, where we can help you transfer your old videotapes, films, cassette tapes, record albums, and even photographs and slides to DVD and digital so you can enjoy them again. North Metro TV, bringing the past to life.
And we are back at Panthers Stadium. We have our battle between the Blaine Bengals and the Spring Lake Park Panthers. I'm Blythe Whaley alongside Bill Hupp, and we're taking you through this final half. And of course, our score knotted up 1-1, and the Bengals drew first blood. We got to see our goal scorer, Jack Moore, finding it early.
Jack Moore did not, in fact, score that goal. It was that sensational free kick by Tura Dalu. Tura Dalu underneath from the underside of the bar. And then just 5 minutes before the end of the first half, Maid Medic, 8th goal of the season on a beautiful ball over the top by Ethan Dissinger. And we're all level, 1-1 as we start the second half, and sets up what should be a really exciting half.
Yeah, exactly. And as Coach Aerosmith told us before the game, just saying that this game has typically been decided by just that 1-goal margin. So as we get closer here, final 40 minutes are underway.
And it's no surprise because, these teams have had a history of close games, and they're both 5-5 entering play in conference play. So they're both like middle of the pack, middle of the table. But this is a big game because one team wants to continue its trend, and Spring Lake Park wants to win its second straight and try to build on that.
Ball sent forward, having to lay out.
Nicely done by Sam Stile to come off his line and collect that one. Stile wearing the captain's armband. He's split time this year with Riyad Hussein, who we saw against Centennial, who I thought played pretty well against Centennial. So two solid senior net-keeping options, net-minding options for the Spring Lake Park Panthers, and Ryan and Jennifer Manning. And meanwhile, Medic foul whistled for the fouls. He shoved down Marithi.
And the Bengals get this ball back in play quickly. In the middle of the field is Jack Moore, sending it back to his defense to help him move it around. And that's what's always nice. Send it back, able to switch fields, now through Dalu, who finds it wide.
Playing those triangles, right? And they just want to possess. They did a better job of that at the end of the second half.
Finding each other, give and go, back to Moore. Moore finding his teammate, but that one shot fired right side of the net. But that nice buildup we're seeing here for the Bengals early on in this second half. They're showing how much they want it as they come out here firing early.
Charlie Rohrbach, who several head-banded Blaine Bengals, and in fact his shot, they're saying, took a deflection, so early corner for Blaine just 2 minutes into the second half.
Low ball sent in. First two were the Panthers.
Good hustle by Rohrbach.
Getting the ball back, Samir Adam.
Dalu, quick feet.
Just about to skirt around the defender, deflected out of bounds in another corner.
And it's going to be a penalty kick.
Will they say handball?
They're going to say handball in the box, and they're going to say that Connor Bogdan was the one whose hand it hit. Now they're going to talk. No, I don't even think they're going to talk. It's just a handball.
Tough break.
So again, Blaine on this end gets a penalty call to go its way. Now the refs are consulting with each other. For Blaine, Ryan Bowman standing over it. But immediately you saw Dalu turn to the side official and gesture that was deflected off the hand. I knew thought they had earned a corner, but Dalu said that was a handball. And now Bowman will try to convert from the spot.
Now Bowman looking to put the Bengals up by a goal. All eyes on him as he hits it off the keeper and into the net. Ryan Bowman scoring the second goal for the Bengals. Enough weight on it to get it past the keep after hitting him.
Yeah, great camera angle with our big camera down on that end. Bull, the big junior, lashed it home, and he had enough power behind it that even though Style guessed right, and got a hand to it, it still managed, had enough height, enough power to get into the goal. Bowman, his fourth of the season, but you see that right there. Look at that. He got a hand to it, just could not keep it out. It had enough power, and Blaine takes the early second half lead.
And you saw how disappointed he was with himself, just knowing that he guessed right, but still not able to make the save. A credit where it's due to Bowman.
Strong wrist. They talk about strong wrists with keepers, and that's why, because, ooh, jeez. That rocketed off Rohrbach's head. Meanwhile, so hopefully he's okay, but it is going to be a free kick for Spring Lake Park here. But yeah, that strong wrist in terms of if he had more of a firm fist, he might have punched that wide. But as it was, it got through his hand and in. And you're right, credit to Bowman.
Akinola going to get a chance here from the 20, sending it. And the ball trickling just right of that post, but could have been bad as the keeper came all the way out. And we'll mention that is now Lucas Skipper there for the Bengals, that keeper change at halftime.
Yeah, they've been splitting time this year. Skipper, 26 goals allowed, a 1.83 goals against average. They're both sophomores, Dunnigan and Skipper. But Skipper came out, got a punch to that, but Spring Lake Park just could not get it in. So now we'll see if this changes the game with the Bengals being up by a goal here early second half. You've controlled the midfield pretty well, but SLP has certainly had their opportunities as well. And there's a foul outside the box.
That was between Brody Stewart coming over.
You remember how physical Brody Stewart was in the Centennial game, so it's certainly his style of play. He doesn't mind throwing a hip check when needed. But again, I mean, we saw Dalu standing over it. Now he's going to back out. Oh, there it is.
Back to him. Keeper having to come out to make the stop, and the defense helping him clear it. It's always nice when you have your defensive backs helping you make that save.
That was a brave job coming out by Sam Style, too. Full dive to block it. Adam, what ended up happening was that Adam laid it off for Dalu to give him the better angle, and then Dalu put it towards the far post. So another really good opportunity. That's a terrible place to give away a free kick.
It's Weens sending it up to Rohrbach. They switch to the far side of the field. The Bengals slot this one into space. Gonna have to come back to keep possession, and they're able to. Dalu with it facing net as he tosses this one forward.
Just hooked away from danger, and sometimes that's the right play, right? You sometimes, you got to feel bad for Connor Bogdan. Hasn't been super involved in the game thus far, but Bogdan just trying to block the cross, and I think he was probably just, honestly, I think it was just a matter of maybe trying to protect himself, so he threw his arm up, and the ball hit it, unfortunately, for SLP, and Blaine took advantage. But there didn't look like anything
crazy,
sort of malicious or anything,
Yeah.
anything unsportsmanlike.
Agreed. It just looked like a very unfortunate thing to happen in that position he was in.
Yeah, kind of unlucky, as they say.
Didn't have the look of the Irish that one of the players had in the
No.
earlier game tonight.
No.
Some more substitutions coming in for the Panthers.
You have to imagine next goal is going to be huge, right? Because either Blaine goes up 3-1 or SLP ties this thing, and we see where it goes from here.
Referee continually trying to keep this game in check, calling another foul here.
Yeah, it definitely has not had quite the flow that the girls' game had as far as back and forth.
Ball sent up on the far side.
That one's actually a free kick, so now no official tally by any means, but the foul's really starting to rack up for both teams.
Stewart sending this one into the mix. It's pushed back out by the defense and out of bounds. The Bengals gonna have to step back and try to defend here.
And again, you're seeing both teams willing to hook it out of play, not necessarily wanting to mess around with trying to pass it out the back, but instead just trying to clear the danger and get it out. Sometimes that's the smart play.
Bengals defense have some time to turn and face, and it's going to allow them to push this up the field, but not connecting. And that's what you would have liked to have seen with that kind of time, that maybe they'd be able to stick with the possession game and find someone's feet to move this ball up the field.
And now Blaine will have the opportunity to score on the counterattack, which they'll certainly try to do here.
Kita, ball at his feet. Just one man separating him between his shot that he likes to take. But forced out of bounds, he'll throw it back in. And quickly back to him. Kita outside the box. Dancing. But pushed out in front of him and out of bounds. Back to the Panthers it goes. Style gonna have the free kick. I like it when sometimes they decide to go to the other side just to have that movement, create the space.
And he'll play it short anyway, as SLP, as we know, likes that possession game, would like to keep more of the ball. But Blaine has really settled in, and other than giving up that little momentary lap of other than that momentary lapse in focus late in the first half, they've been pretty dialed in all game. And they've certainly had the lion's share of the possession in the last 20 minutes of the first half and the first 10 minutes of this half.
Stewart playing it out wide to Schmitz. The Panthers connecting a few, knock it off of the back of a Bengal. And they give up possession there in the middle of the field.
Spring Lake Park just cannot keep possession.
Kita. He's going to be able to have some time with the ball at his feet. We'll see if he's able to hook this one in. Finding his teammate at the top of the box. And Sam Stile making the save. A big save at that.
I love that play from Kita. He just so unselfish to have the ball. He cuts it inside, and instead of taking a tough angled shot with his left foot, decides to pull it back to the top of the box for Jack Moore. Moore side footing it, but a nice save by Stile.
Ball dribbling through as it's sent past the defense, top of the 18-yard box. Stripped away. The Bengals coming out on the right side of that.
Bengals doing a terrific job tracking back on defense.
That was Alexander Gabler.
And ultimately, they just did not allow SLP to wind up and shoot. And that's what the Panthers obviously wanted to do.
Yeah, Lucas Skipper definitely thankful. His defense is helping him.
But that's ultimately what, you know, that other play on the other end was just fantastic all around, from the pullback to the shot to the save by Style.
Referee signaling the other way.
Such an evenly played game. It just doesn't seem like there's much. These two teams, not a huge amount separates these two sides.
And we're deep in that final third.
This is better from Spring Lake Park. They've possessed the ball, but they have to test Skipper. And, you know, possession, they can possess it all they want, but if they can't put it on net, that's it's not going to amount to much.
Running to put this back in play, Bogdan. Looking for the open man on top of the 18-yard box. Stripped away. The Bengals just about to give it back there, right in dangerous position on the top of the 18-yard box. They luck out, get this one under wraps and send this one forward. Jack Moore off to the races, trying to tap it around a couple defenders, but the Panthers come away with it.
Great calm defending by Spring Lake Park, and now they're a little too casual with it as Jonah DeShaw loses it, and finally Stewart whistled for a foul. Blaine disagrees, but ultimately they converge to squeeze Jack Moore off that ball, but great through ball played in the first place. No yellow cards issued. Ref encouraging both sides to settle down, especially the Blaine bench. Blaine felt a little hard done by with that foul call. Both teams working so hard, pressing up top, not making it comfortable for the backlines.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen the speed and just how they're able to find each other as they get in that final third to move it around. This time, it's the Panthers' turn. Tough defense as he's coming back and helping this sail out of bounds.
And Blythe, soccer's one of those sports that effort really does make a difference. I mean, so there's some sports where working harder or trying harder doesn't do anything, but soccer is really, you can run harder, you can run more, you know, you can really put in a shift. Again, Spring Lake Park with a great chance to tie this up. Free kick from a dangerous position. Will Akinola go for goal?
Now, 2 in the wall for the Bengals, but I'm assuming this one is going to just be placed towards far post if he can get it there. Ooh. Just about able to get the ricochet, but towards the near side and out of bounds. That one was close, though. If that could have been on net, it had the power to make it.
Yeah, it certainly did. Could not be redirected. Brody Stewart looks like the one who got his head to it. Just flashed wide of the right post.
Substitutions for the Bengals. A few players coming in, so not just a onesie-twosie. About 4 players stepping in.
The hockey line. Hockey substitution.
Exactly, yep. But one of the Knockin' brothers again getting knocked out of play. You talked about just that size difference, being a couple of younger players for the Knockin' brothers, but ultimately in soccer, you're getting those calls oftentimes. So even when they are getting knocked down, it's helping their team find some good positioning sometimes.
I think Kevin Sarazin just got in the book. Now the ref coming over and explaining to the Blaine manager why Sarazin has to go. And obviously in high school, when a kid gets a yellow card, you've got to substitute him. So Sarazin goes out, another player comes in, and the ref, Barry Aerosmith's not careful. You go to his pocket as well.
letting him do his dirty work.
Tara! Tara! Keep back! Let it go!
This looks like Stewart coming up for the Panthers to take this free kick opportunity. A decent distance to loft this one into the mix, possibly get ahead on it like we just saw. That redirection is very possible.
Yeah, far post. Couldn't get it over that initial wall at the top of the box.
Bengals with time. Able to clear this one up a good distance up the field before being knocked out by Stewart. And as the Bengals push up the field, they're going to want to get this out of their defensive end. They want to give themselves a break, allow the attackers to take some of the time of possession. Into the middle with DeLu. DeLu able to get the turn onto the far side of the field. And as they work it back through the middle, Sharian handing it off. They've done a good job of finding each other, even amongst the tightly defended teammates they're having to pass it through. Sharian on the far side, just outside the 18-yard box, slotting this one over. This is Newby.
Blaine would love to get another goal, love to make it 3-1.
Oh, definitely, yeah, as time is ticking off, 22:40 remain.
A great job by the SLP defense to kind of hold the line at that top of the 18-yard box and not let Blaine get much in terms of a quality shot off. But again, they're going to try to play it out the back.
Stepping through, the Bengals gather possession. There's 3 men on him. We'll see if he can get it out. Akinola.
Oof.
Onto the near side we come, and the Bengals are going to have to try to, again, get possession and hold it for a bit. Yes, they're up by a goal, but if they allow the Panthers to start hanging out in their defensive end, that could change here in a matter of seconds.
Panthers passing it a little more slickly. They just look a little more crisp in terms of just their passage of play. But obviously, you know, all that possession, it's much like the old Arsenal teams. It's not resulting in any chances that have troubled Lucas Skipper, who's been in net for Blaine in this second half.
On the far side, referee. Drop ball. And as they switch the field, the Bengals, they have that time to find each other. Sharian playing it back. Stocky.
Again, look at that pressure up top. Forces the mistake by the Blaine defense. And SLP will have a throw in. No long throws in this game. That's something we've seen in games past, but
it's a huge advantage when you do have a player who's able to do that for you, to send it into the box like a corner. But yeah, there are definitely teams who maybe that player who can do that on their team isn't the right player to be on the field the entire time.
Have you ever seen someone do the backflip throw in?
The backflip or the front flip?
The front flip. Front flip.
I was going to say, oh gosh, I've
The
never seen the
back
backflip. That would be very
Yeah,
impressive.
that would be interesting. The front flip. The front
Yes,
flip.
I have. They definitely, especially in a lot of summer leagues. I didn't really see it as much as I got into high school and college. Probably, I don't know, it just wasn't maybe something that people had worked on, but I did see people have some really long throws, just able to get that arch on their back to make it sail through the air.
Yep, Akinola again providing pressure up top.
Splitting the D, almost able to get past the back line was Medic. He wants another one. He already has the one. And he almost looked like he was skipping there again, like you said, hopping after the play went past. And you wonder, for me, like I said, when I did something to my hamstring, that's kind of the feeling you have. You feel like it's kind of pulling on the back of your leg. But again, who knows? It could just be he likes to skip. But we will
Hey, when he doesn't
hopefully
get it.
know that next game, if anything has happened to him, we can update you guys.
Yeah, hopefully he's in this game and obviously good enough to come back on and score late first half. So.
And I remember when I did mine, I played the rest of the game. My coach didn't know. I didn't tell her until after the game that it happened in the first half. And she's like, "What? You got injured? What are you talking about?" And then it definitely affected me in the games to come as it got tight.
Yeah, and it's such an easy thing to re-injure. Same with groins, like pulled groins.
Yeah.
Pulled hamstrings, all those like muscle strains, they're so easy they take a long time to heal, and they are so easy to re-injure.
Yeah, and especially as I was telling you, the speed was a huge, impactful part of my game. To have a hamstring injury was very tough. You're
not
definitely
ideal.
looking to play a different style game when you're dealing with that, because you're not going to try to get up to that final speed, because ultimately your leg's just going to yank.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not equating my career and your career, but when I played adult old men soccer in Chicago in my late 20s, I strained my hamstring a couple times making runs, like trying to track down balls down lines and whatnot. And yeah, it was just trying to get that extra burst to catch up to it. But when I say burst, I'm slow, so it was a relative burst.
That final gear, though, for you.
Yeah, the final gear for me, which was first gear for most people. And yeah, once you do it once, it's just, you're just always a threat to do it again, and so you're trying to stretch and make sure you're limber, but it's not easy.
Well, the season's short when you think about a soccer season, too. It feels like it just goes by so quickly,
Great
so
ball.
to have to deal with that can be tough.
Great ball. Akinola trying to tap it by defenders. He is so exciting to watch on the field. Hasn't resulted in any goals that we've seen the last couple games, but he just makes things happen, and that was a great cushioned ball out to him by Medic.
Bogdan threw that one in play. They worked it around, but ultimately giving it back to the Bengals.
I've not really seen a shot, and I would say a good 10 minutes. It's been a lot of just battles in the midfield for possession, and now we're inside of 17 minutes to go in the game. Blaine would love to get the sweep and hang on here for an important road victory in conference play.
And that's what can happen sometimes. That's why you want to score when you do have those opportunities, because when two tightly matched teams play up against each other, you'll see that happen sometimes where it's just stuck. Like it's not making it to either net. You're not getting those shots on. But
Watch
look at this
out
one.
for the popcorn.
Woo!
Oh,
Don't waste
onto the
the
turf.
kernels.
I will say, not that much spilled out, so I think a good 60–70% of that was still good.
Whew. Thank goodness.
Good switch.
The defenses seem to be able to come back for Blaine time and time again.
Just that final ball, not good enough, as you see there, behind everybody, and allowed Blaine to recover. Oh, there's some keepers famously who have gotten like bad concussions from collisions on 50-50 balls. Big collision here as the player for SLP stays down.
I know a guy who has a plate in his face because of it.
No way.
Yeah, he was a keeper, and he used to train me, because obviously it's great to have a keeper, because he's training a bunch of keepers. So as a forward, it's nice to be able to go in and practice some shots and whatnot. But yeah, he was telling me that there was a few of them that were some pretty close calls, and that one resulted in the plate going in.
My
So it
goodness.
gets a little cold in the winter.
Akinola. Yeah, oh, I can imagine. Have to tell TSA about that?
Yeah, probably, I wonder. But a near opportunity there for the Panthers as they got the free kick in close range. Doesn't result in that tying goal they wanted. They're still down by 1. Bengals leading it 2-1, and we're getting down where it's crunch time. 3 minutes, 15 seconds remain in this game. Lofted up and over, but the defense is able to gather it up.
What a ball. Schmitz was nearly able to run onto it for SLP. Panthers trail the Blaine Bengals 2-1.
Now on the far side, Spring Lake Park.
Panthers have been searching all second half for that game-tying goal. Of course,
Ricocheting towards net. You saw some power there for the Panthers. Not quite enough.
oh,
Up and over the crossbar it goes. But you've seen the urgency coming from the Panthers here in the last minute or so. They're feeling it. They know the time is not in their favor. They got to get it done.
in case you just joined us, Blaine took the lead early in the second half. A penalty on one of the SLP defenders, a handball in the box that was blasted home by Ryan Bowman for his 4th of the year, and that's the difference between these two teams. The game has been, I'd say, Blythe, as advertised.
Yes, this is an exciting one for sure. A close matchup between these two teams, and just about to get past the defense.
Now Blaine just trying to kill off the last minute 44 that we have here.
And we've seen a lot from Brody Stewart on the defensive end, and now he's up top there for the Panthers as
Long
they
throw.
try to get back in it.
Yep, long throw for sure.
Now pushing everyone into the box. Deep throw like we've been waiting for all game. Top of the 18-yard backs coming back to him. Shot fired and towards Skipper. Didn't have quite enough power on it. That was Dishinger.
Oh, great job to keep it in play and force a throw. And again, it's going to be a quick long throw from Flores. Just a minute left.
And that was Dishinger, number 6 there.
With the long throw? No, not Flores. I beg your pardon.
They look close. I had to double
5
check
and 6.
with the binoculars.
Rohrbach not afraid to throw his weight around. We've seen that a couple times tonight.
And look at the Panthers go, really turning it on here.
You need to get a shot off. Oh,
Almost
in the
taken
box.
down in the box. Referee doesn't call it. You saw them call some of those here tonight, and this one goes unanswered.
Spring Lake Park fans absolutely furious that no call was made. 20 seconds left. That should do it. Wow. Huge no call at the top of the box.
10 seconds remaining.
And a tough battle here between these two teams. Again, that non-call sometimes can come up fatal, and we see it happen for the Spring Lake Park Panthers as that does it. And the Bengals winning 2-1. This was a tough battle.
And certainly, as the goalie talks to the ref, you see the refs converging, very upset with the no call. What makes it more difficult, Blythe, I think, or what makes it frustrating for Spring Lake Park is that they had a penalty awarded against them, and then they could have had a penalty awarded for them towards the end. They didn't get it. Blaine converts their chance early in the second half, and that was the difference. We talked about the fact that it would likely be a 1-goal game, and in the end, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and you don't want to put yourself in a position that the refs can make that tough call here late in the game. They would have loved to have tied this one up earlier or gotten up themselves, but of course, the cookie doesn't always crumble the right way for whichever side you're on, and that will wrap it up here from Panther Stadium. Bengals getting the victory on the road 2-1 over the Panthers. I'm Blythe Whaley, and my broadcast partner Bill Hupp. We thank our team and crew that helped us put this one together tonight, but we will be back with you for more action on North Metro TV in the days to come. Of course, join us for football tomorrow, but take care, guys. We'll see you here soon.